The Scum Villain's Self-Saving System, Chapter 66 Circle of Nobles, Wanton Disorder, Audio Source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 66 Circle of Nobles, Wanton Disorder. He didn't know if Luo Bing'er understood, but he forged AEAD, his face darkening. This wilderness battlefield amidst the crowd of beasts immediately became a three-way brawl. Tian Langjun was fighting too, Lu Qingge was also fighting too, Luo Bing'er was fighting one and ignoring one, while still bearing two people's worth of attacks. Black energy and white light exploded across the scene, sword shrieks and beast hisses rushing into the sky. Lu Qingge came to rescue Xiāng, but the ring encircling him grew thicker and thicker. Cheng Luan whirled like a miniature tornado, and the dozen blood beasts mixed in the crowd splattered into thousands of droplets of blood. Xiāng yelled, "Close your mouth. Don't swallow them." Lu Qingge didn't need to close his mouth at all, those droplets couldn't even moisten his sleeves. Tian Langjun, however, smiled. "I seem to have forgotten that Peak Lord Shen is still here." He wished he had been forgotten. Once Tian Langjun remembered he was here, life would get much more difficult for him. A griping pain crawled up thickly in his stomach. At first, Luo Bing'er was the fiercest of the three fighters, each strike directed precisely at Tian Langjun, but now his offense suddenly slowed, his heart divided. Xiāng yelled, "Keep fighting. Don't mind me." He didn't shout or cry out, pretending he couldn't feel anything at all. Returning to the tent, he dragged out Zhu Zhilang, his smile twisted into a sneer. "You won't be able to throw yourself under my sword this time, right?" Zhu Zhilang said helplessly. "I owe a heavy debt of kindness to both Peak Lord Shen and my lord. Why must you always make things difficult for me?" A cold sweat broke out on Xiāng's pain back. He idly threw back a response to distract himself. "You really keep a clear record of your gratitudes and grudges." The demon race's officials were truly each as dedicated to their profession as Xiaohuling, preaching their grand mission at every possible opportunity. Zhu Zhilang, under the point of his sword, continued to admonish him. "That's right. So, because the four great sects overpowered my lord with base tricks many years ago, one day, they will pay. Kangqiong Mountain, Zhaohua Temple, Wanhua Palace, Tianyi Overlook. My lord said not one will be left behind, so it's certain that not one will be left behind." Hearing him bring up Wanhua Palace, Xiāng's heartstrings tightened. After he had escaped from Wanhua Palace's water prison into Huayue City, he had heard that the disciples guarding the water prison had all been killed. Even Gong Yixio was not lucky enough to escape. This black pot had been thrown on his head at the time, and he had pressed it on Luo Bing'er's head in turn. But, while rushing about until today, he never had the chance to determine who had actually killed them. Zhu Zhilang was good to him now because he had stopped Gong Yixio from killing him that time, becoming a benefactor in his eyes. Then, accordingly, Gong Yixio should be an enemy. Xiāng said, "Do you remember Gong Yixio?" Zhu Zhilang thought for a while and said, "That disciple from Huayue Palace." Sure enough, he remembered. "That time when I went to the water prison to meet Master Shen, at first I mistook him for Luo Bing'er." Xiāng could understand. From the back, Gong Yixio really did resemble Luo Bing'er. If someone only took a quick look, their features also had some subtle similarities. So for a time, he felt especially attached to Gong Yixio. Zhu Zhilang continued. "Afterwards, I found out he was precisely that Wanhua Palace senior disciple who entered the dew cave in Bailu Forest with Master Shen. So, I killed him in passing." Killed him in passing. Zhu Zhilang really was a very simple demon. As his uncle said, he was a little foolish. Tian Langjun had supported him so he would follow him until death. Shen Qingqiu had inadvertently saved him, so he was paying him back in his own way all along. For the same reason, every small grievance must be avenged one. It's just that Gong Yixio's death was rather too unjust. He had only moved to kill, but he didn't actually kill him. Shen Qingqiu heard Gong Yixio's parting words, "If we meet again, Elder Shen must fulfill his promise to take me to visit Qingjing Peak. I'll always be waiting." As if he was speaking right beside Shen Qingqiu's ear. Shen Qingqiu simply didn't know what to say. He watched Zhu Zhilang's gaze grow more and more complicated, but his former effortless ease was already long gone. Just as the latter noticed this change, Shen Qingqiu stood up, walking forwards. Zhu Zhilang started. "Where are you going?" Shen Qingqiu said. "Anywhere is fine, as long as it's far away." These heavenly demons were all mental cases. Going with one mental case would at least be better than going with two. At worst, that one would still listen to him. Zhu Zhilang looked like he had been stung. In a flash, he said, "I only wanted to be good to the people who helped me." "Is there anything wrong with that?" Shen Qingqiu said. "The problem is, you think the things you do are good for me, but I don't feel the same." With every step, he felt his veins twist, like thousands of worms were squirming and chewing his insides. Luo Bing'e repeatedly turned his head to look at him, many times narrowly avoiding an attack. Zhu Zhilang couldn't understand. Even if Master Shen couldn't achieve a peaceful end, why are you determined on staying with him all the way? Shen Qingqiu didn't answer, continuing to walk forward. Zhu Zhilang said in a low voice, "I understand." Before his words had fallen, the stagnant pain in Shen Qingqiu's body completely disappeared. Tian Langjun's voice entered the scene, with a tone of slight indignation. "What are you doing?" Of the people on the scene, only those of the heavenly demon lineage knew what was happening. At first, there were 3 sets of blood parasites in Shen Qingqiu's body. Luo Bing'e fought 1-on-2, so he was at a slight disadvantage. But, just now, Zhu Zhilang stopped urging his blood parasites against Luo Bing'e but turned sides to join with Luo Bing'e in suppressing Tian Langjun's blood. Without the pain, what was there to fear? Shen Qingqiu drew Xu, vaulting onto the sword. "Lu Shidi, let's go." Seeing him fly over on his sword, Lu Qingge also flipped onto Cheng Luin. Tian Langjun finally stopped playing with his blood, a palm full of demonic energy sweeping over to attack, but was blocked by Luo Bing'e. Shen Qingqiu passed by, reaching down as Luo Bing'e raised his arm. Their movements strung together like seamless heavenly clothes, 2 hands going right on target. With a pull, he took Luo Bing'e along on Xu. The 2 sword glares disappeared into the sky in a flash. The sky above the wilderness filled with howls. Tian Langjun snapped his fingers, and the remaining dozen blood beasts lost their vigor, fur and fangs rapidly melting. Before long, they transformed into a spatter of blood droplets, quickly dissolving into the ground. He looked at Zhu Zhilang. "You're letting them go, just like that?" Zhu Zhilang didn't say a word in reply, going down on one knee. Tian Langjun had excellent self-restraint. His anger would only persist for a moment, and he had long gone over to say, Think it through carefully. He doesn't appreciate your kindness at all, he's just wholeheartedly rushing down the road to disaster." "Zhu Zhilang, you're already this old. How do you not know your head's turned around a bend?" He gestured for Zhu Zhilang to get up and said offhandedly, "But you don't need to be so sad. Peak Lord Shen will understand you're acting for his own good one day. It's not far off." Zhu Zhilang knew in his heart that that would be the day the 4 great sects were extinguished. Tianlangjun sent another glance to the sky, muttering, "But I truly never would have thought. Peak Lord Shen likes there to be more people. Does there have to be at least 3 people every time?" The changing fields of Zhu Zhilang's mind grew barren in a flash, as if a southern gale had blown through too. His lord had probably been reading those strange illustrated pamphlets spread from the human realm again. The 3 had flown several kilometers on their swords, heading straight for the borderlands. Lu Qingge didn't think Shen Qingqiu would bring Luo Bing'e with them. "What are you dragging him along for? Why are you together with him?" Lu Qingge and Luo Bing'e held a deeply ingrained resentment towards each other, and Shen Qingqiu couldn't explain on the spot. He said vaguely, "This, I have a reason for." Hearing that he didn't refute the word. Together, Luo Bing'e's eyes curved, the corner of his mouth also curling up. Lu Qingge, seeing him break out into a full smile for no reason, formed a seal in his hand, spiritual energy sizzling between his fingers. He warned, "Shen Qingqiu, you come over here." Luo Bing'e changed faces faster than flipping the pages of a book. He was warm and tender one moment but full of mockery the next, holding on to Shen Qingqiu's waist tighter. He was already holding on tight, and with this extra force Shen Qingqiu nearly couldn't breathe. Slapping his hand away, he said, "Lu Shidi, this explanation is a bit complicated. Let's escape first, then I can tell you slowly later. Just trust me for now." Lu Qingge said, "I trust you. But I don't trust him." Shen Qingqiu said without thinking, "I trust him." Lu Qingge's expression hardened. He said solemnly, "You trusted him before, and what was the result?" Luo Bing'e's smile was like a needle concealed in silk floss. His tone was neither hostile nor friendly as he said, "Shizun already said he trusts me. Why are you still wasting your words? Are you not done fighting yet?" Shen Qingqiu said, "How are you speaking to your Shishu?" Lu Qingge was already so short-spoken, so where were these wasted words? Indeed, he didn't have any more to say and threw out a ball of explosive power. "We're traveling at high altitudes, is it that fun to fight while riding swords? Be careful, safety is number one." Shen Qingqiu tilted his course for a bit. He should have dodged the attack, but he heard a smothered groan from Luo Bing'e behind him. Shen Qingqiu turned his head to ask, "What is it? Was he really hit?" Luo Bing'e shook his head and said, "It's nothing. It doesn't hurt. Usually, even if he was hit, he's fine, right?" Shen Qingqiu looked him over carefully and saw a wisp of dark energy between his eyebrows. He muttered, "Your face doesn't look very good." Luo Bing'e's voice softened, saying warmly, "When I was fighting that old demon, my head was a bit dizzy. Just now, it was dizzier. But it's nothing, just an explosive attack, that's all." Each of Lu Qingge's bloody battles with him was more violent than the last. How many times had they fought? Now he's dizzy from one explosive attack. WuxaWorldAudio.com. He said, "Shen Qingqiu, you get out of the way." Shen Qingqiu hurriedly gave an apologetic smile. "Lu Shidi, he was injured before and just recovered. By all means, don't lower yourself to his level. He isn't sensible. If he offended you, I'll apologize in his place." Lu Qingge's expression didn't improve, but Shen Qingqiu continued, "He has made many mistakes before, but he won't from now on. I'll definitely discipline him well." Lu Qingge's face finally cleared. "You really trust him?" Shen Qingqiu wasn't as confident as he sounded. Luo Bing'e was still holding his waist, with that look of anxious anticipation on his face again, like he was waiting for his reply. To speak the truth, he had never truly trusted Luo Bing'e before, and he was unintentionally hurting him all along. Things having reached this stage, Shen Qingqiu forced a smile. "It's better to believe than not." 3 inches. In a home, if the kids weren't sensible, the adults don't have it easy. Xiāng Tóngxiù finished his apology and gave some kind words. It's been some time since we've seen each other, and Lu Shidi's cultivation has advanced even more. Lu Qingge raised his chin. I just exited seclusion. When Luo Binghe surrounded Kangqiong Mountain, Lu Qingge said to wait. Turns out he really did enter seclusion to cultivate. He had come to save him right after exiting seclusion. Xiāng Tóngxiù felt that a simple word of thanks wouldn't be enough. He rubbed his nose and said offhandedly, "How did you know to look for me in the southern border?" After Lu Qingge first exited seclusion, he had rushed to Luo Binghe's territory in the northern border at top speed, storming his way in and almost upturning the whole area. But, in the end, Xiāng Tóngxiù wasn't there. Luo Binghe wasn't there either and had reportedly retreated like he was running back for a confession. He first captured that demon woman Sha whatever to interrogate her. However, Baizan Peak's preferred interrogation method was beating up the suspect. At best, it was beating up the suspect to different levels of severity. Lu Jufu certainly couldn't beat up a woman, and since Sha Huling was especially hard to deal with, he didn't get anything out of her. Luckily, he had run into that eating his fill all day, wandering idly with nothing to do Shang Qinghua. Lu Qingge couldn't tolerate these goods in the least. But, just as he had raised his fist, Shang Qinghua started confessing everything in an unceasing torrent of chatter, including how Xiāng Tóngxiù's meals were in the demon realm, his daily activities to amuse himself and pass the time, as well as the important news about how he had been taken away to the southern border. After getting the information out of him, Lu Qingge planned to execute this traitor on the spot. But Shang Qinghua started to hug his thighs and wail to wake the dead, promising over and over that he didn't want to do it and he would turn over a new leaf. His howls had drawn out Mo Beidun. The two fought, toppling much of Luo Binghe's underground palace, which had delayed him for some time. These rhythmical ups and downs, this thing full of scenes of violence, was precisely the story of Lu Ju's journey these last few days. Troubling his heart and strength like this, Lu Qingge is truly a man more reliable than a blood brother. 6. After reservedly expressing his tears of gratitude, he changed the topic and said firmly, "Lu Shidi, I have official business I need to tell you." Lu Qingge said, "Go on." Xiāng Tóngxiù said, "Do you know of Tianlang Jun? Of the famous figures in the cultivation world, this name could be described as legendary. Many years ago, in the battle where Tianlang Jun had been suppressed under Bailu Mountain, the four great sects had turned out in full strength. 7 Though Kangqiong Mountain was the main force, those that had fought in the war were all the former generation of peak lords. Of the current peak lords of Kangqiong Mountain, only Yue Qingyuan had gone to war as Qiongding Peak's head disciple. Furthermore, he had shown his brilliance using Xuansu and took on the crucial role. Lu Qingge naturally wouldn't be unaware of these things. The demon race's last demon saint. His corporeal body has been destroyed for some years. Xiāng Tóngxiù said, "The destruction of a corporeal body doesn't necessarily mean death. He might have shed his shell." Lu Qingge raised one eyebrow. "Like you." Xiāng Tóngxiù sighed in shame. "Exactly." Lu Qingge didn't chase that line of conversation. He escaped. "Then what?" Xiāng Tóngxiù said, "Tianlang Jun has plans of merging the demon realm and the human realm." "Does that mean he plans to attack the human realm?" Xiāng Tóngxiù knew it would be very easy for a normal person to confuse these two concepts. This merging he spoke of, many people would take it as just unification. Quote, "In fact, it was not so. What Tianlang Jun planned to do with the Heart Devil Sword was indeed a merging, in the literal sense.